It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 9 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be doing a prediction on the finale of Season 9 of The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode 16, which is called The Storm. For those of you that are new here, the way we do our predictions is we look at the synopsis of the episode, we look at the sneak peeks that were released, we look at the trailer, and also any images that we have in order to make a prediction about the episode. With that said, let's jump right into the synopsis. The synopsis reads, in the aftermath of an overwhelming loss, obviously referring to the Pike scene, the communities must brave a ferocious blizzard. As one group deals with an enemy from within, another is forced to make a life or death decision. Now that's very interesting, but going back to the first part, in the aftermath of an overwhelming loss, referring to the Pike scene, the communities must brace a ferocious blizzard. Now, this is an interesting part, as one group deals with an enemy from within. So who's the enemy from within? That's very, very interesting. Now, I don't think this is related to the Whisperers at all. I think the enemy from within might potentially be referring to Negan, because he's an enemy in a way, and he lives with them, you know? I think that might be what they're kind of referring to or hinting at here. They could also be talking about Lydia as well. It could be both, Negan or Lydia. But other than those two, I don't see anyone else that's within the group that could be considered an enemy. Unless they really do something interesting where they actually make someone betray the group or something, which I don't think they're gonna do. The last part, another is forced to make a life or death decision. I think that's clearly referring to Carol. And the life or death decision they're talking about is the scene that we did see in the trailer where we had Lydia putting some sharp object, some sharp tool right to her heart, telling Carol that, you know, I'm ready for you to take my life. You can kill me. I know you blame me, I blame myself, and I deserve to die. So I think that's what this is probably referring to. Now that's basically everything in terms of the synopsis. Now, sharing my own predictions aside from the synopsis, I think this episode is most likely going to be split between 3 different stories. Now, before I actually jump into these stories, I think the first thing to notice is that there is most definitely going to be some sort of time jump going from episode 15 to 16, much like what we had with episode 5 and 6. Now, the time jump between episode 5 and 6 of this season was 6 years. We're not going to get a 6-year time jump, obviously, but I think we're probably going to see a time jump of a few months, maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months, or whatever it could be. I think it's a minimum of 2 months time jump, but that's the first thing that we do need to consider. There's going to be a time jump after the events of the Pike scene in episode 15. Now, I don't think within that time jump there was any kind of important things happening or any more conflict with the Whisperers. Like, for example, between episode 5 and 6, there was a lot that happened that we learned about later on. But I don't think they're going to do that this time around because it just doesn't make sense. And plus, it's a smaller period of time jump. But also, it's repetitive if they do that. So I don't think anything important happened within that couple of months time jump. But the important thing is that there's probably going to be some sort of time jump. Now, the 3 stories that I referred to, the first story is dealing with the deaths that happened in the last episode and trying to heal, try to cope with the deaths. So I think that's probably a part of the episode. Then the next part, I think it's going to be related to the kingdom, the fact that the kingdom is going to fall. We have seen that in the trailer. King Ezekiel said the kingdom fell. So we know the kingdom falls. And the reason why the kingdom fell is pretty obvious at this point, and I will talk about that on a separate video. It's pretty much confirmed in the opening minutes, which I will do a standalone video on breaking down and talking about. So the kingdom falls, so they have to make a trip from the kingdom to whatever community that they're gonna go to, Alexandria or Hilltop. So I think a portion of the episode is gonna be the trip from Kingdom to whatever location they're going to go to. And I think this is going to be a big chunk of the episode, that trip itself. Obviously with the storm that's going to hit, which is going to be very cool and interesting to see, that's going to make the trip more interesting. If it wasn't the snow or the blizzard or the storm, this trip wouldn't have been interesting. And so there wouldn't have been enough there for them to kind of have most of the episode be this trip. But I think most of the episode is going to be the trip to the location that they're going to go to. The third part of the story that I think we're going to see, which is kind of related to the first part, is Carol coping with Henry's death and the storyline that they're setting up between Carol and Lydia. They obviously have something planned for them, some sort of story that's a product of Henry's death and the fact that Lydia was involved in that. And I think that's going to be another chunk of the episode, and part of the story is going to be concentrated on that. We did see some scenes in the trailer and also in one of the sneak peeks that I talked about in another video. But in terms of this episode and my predictions, I think that's probably what we're going to see. There is a chance, aside from this, we're going to see some major reveal or some major event, either a big character death or a big reveal at the end of the episode, or maybe something else, maybe related to Negan. Maybe he escapes again or something along those lines. But I think that's how the episode is going to be structured and how the episode is going to go. And based on some photos that were released, we do know that the trip from Kingdom to wherever they're going is not just going to be the Kingdom members. It's going to include everyone from all communities. Now, the sneak peek that I will discuss in another video makes this very, very clear. Now, what's got me very excited and interested is Negan. Is he still at Alexandria or traveling with them? Maybe they don't have enough trust now that they don't want to just leave him in Alexandria by himself, or maybe something related to that. There's definitely something interesting with Negan that we might see in this episode. And I think there's a chance that we might see Negan actually traveling with the group. One of the images actually has Negan in some sort of room that doesn't look like his cell. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is Alpha's border. In the trailer, we have them crossing Alpha's border. So I think when they're making a trip from Kingdom to wherever they're going, they're gonna, at some point, for whatever reason, cross that border, which might potentially cause more conflict and may actually end up with them seeing the Whispers again or something along those lines. But that's basically my predictions for this episode. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.